Evelyn married a man who had nothing. No house, no car, no name, no family wealth, just a quiet smile and a calm way of speaking that made her heart believe she was safe. She met him on the expressway, sweaty, dusty, struggling, but kind. She fell in love with his humility. She believed her money would help him become a man of value, and so she lifted him, fed him, dressed him, and called him her king. But while she was building him, he was building a new life, one that didn't include her. One where the woman who saved him was no longer alive. Because on a quiet Monday morning, Evelyn borrowed his car, just a simple drive to get groceries. But under the driver's seat, tucked in a white envelope, she found her children's passports, her husband's visa, and a travel plan she had never heard of. And right at the bottom of the file, she found a clean, printed copy of her own obituary with her picture on it. And he was still in the kitchen that morning, smiling at her, kissing her forehead, saying, "I love you. Welcome to African Tales by Day. Please subscribe, like, and share. Now, let's begin." The sun was merciless that afternoon. The Lagos air was hot, thick, and heavy with the scent of exhaust fumes and sweat. Evelyn stood in front of her black Range Rover, parked dangerously on the shoulder of the express. Her tire had burst without warning, and although she had called her mechanic, he was stuck in traffic. Her driver wasn't around, and her phone battery was dying. Cars kept rushing past and no one stopped. No one even slowed down. Until him. A tall, dusty young man with a cooler strapped across his chest walked toward her car. He was hawking pure water, his shirt soaked with sweat, lips dry and cracked. He stood beside her window and asked softly, "Auntie, are you okay?" Evelyn hesitated. She was used to being careful. She didn't talk to strangers. But there was something about his voice, gentle, respectful, steady. "My tire burst," she said. He dropped his cooler by the side of the road, knelt without another word, and went straight to work. 10 minutes passed. 15. No complaints, no loud talking, no asking for money. Just calm, focused hands working with determination. When he finished, he wiped his hands on his shirt and stepped back. "It's okay now, Ma," he said, breathing hard. "Please drive slowly until you find a vulcanizer." She looked at him. His face was young but tired. His eyes had that quiet kind of hunger, not for food, but for a better life. She reached into her bag, pulled out a clean business card, and handed it to him. "Call me tomorrow," she said. The next day he did, and just like that, Evelyn's story began. His name was Coyote, but everyone called him K. When he called the number on the card the next day, he didn't expect her to pick up immediately. But she did. She invited him for coffee, a proper cafe, marble tables, glass windows, soft jazz music in the background. Kay felt like a stranger in that world. He wore his best shirt, which still had a tiny tear under the arm, and polished his shoes until they nearly reflected his fear. But when Evelyn walked in, she didn't flinch. She didn't look down on him, she smiled. They talked for hours. Kay told her his story. Born in a poor village, graduated with a degree in business admin, but no job. His father is a palm wine tapper. His mother sold roasted corn and ground nuts. He had younger siblings he helped feed by selling cold, pure water in traffic. Evelyn listened, really listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't make it about herself. She was used to men pretending to be rich, men who wanted her money, men who came in suits and designer perfume, offering lies in fine English. But Kay, he was simple, he was honest, and something in her heart said, "This one won't hurt you." One date became two, two became five. 5 became daily calls, texts, jokes, walks in the evening, cheap suya, cold zobo, long voice notes that made her smile. People talked. Her friends whispered, "Why are you dating a pure water hawker? You, a woman of your class?" But Evelyn wasn't ashamed. She believed in lifting others. "I see his future," she said, and she meant it. The wedding was small but beautiful. Evelyn wore a custom white lace gown that hugged her curves like poetry. Kay wore a sleek cream-colored suit that she paid for. His mother cried all through the ceremony, tears of joy. After all, who would have believed that her son would marry a woman who owned 3 big boutiques, 2 apartments, and her own skincare line? Evelyn moved Kay into her home. She gave him an account with 5 million naira and said, "Start any business you like." He said, "Thank you, my queen." She bought him a car. She bought him clothes. She introduced him to her friends. She carried him the way a mother carries a child who has never had shoes. The first child came, a baby girl named Zara. Then another, Janelle. Kay seemed like the perfect father, always smiling, always playing with his daughters, kissing Evelyn's forehead, telling her how lucky he was. But behind the smile, behind the kisses, behind the compliments, was Cassandra, a slim, sharp-tongued beauty who lived on the mainland. Kay was spending Evelyn's money on her, buying her hair, her nails, her rent, her body lotions, her phones, her clothes. Evelyn was home, breastfeeding, building businesses, praying for her family, while Kay was building a secret life with Cassandra. The first time Kay lied to Evelyn, it was small. She had just transferred 10 million euros to his account to start a logistics business. She even rented a small warehouse space for him, designed a logo, and helped him create a brand name, Swift Track Express. She believed in his vision before he had one. Weeks passed. She was excited to see the setup, but every time she asked, Kay had a different excuse. "The guy who was supposed to be my manager disappointed me. The generator packed up. The supplier ran away with the goods. Dollar rate is affecting the clearing process." At first, she understood. She even consoled him. "It's okay, babe. These things happen. Try again. I'm proud of you." She wasn't just his wife. She was his backbone. But something was wrong. She noticed he had new sneakers, new perfume, a phone upgrade, and each time she mentioned the business, he would distract her with love. Kisses, compliments, breakfast in bed, sweet morning messages. It worked. He knew her weakness, emotional reassurance. Because Evelyn had everything, except someone to remind her daily that she was enough. So, she stayed quiet. She never mentioned the money again. Cassandra wasn't just a random side chick. She was the kind that made married men forget they were married. Slim, sharp, well-spoken, and calculated. She worked at a salon part-time and was introduced to Kay by a friend at a wedding Evelyn didn't attend. The moment she saw him in his Agbada and new Benz, Evelyn's gift, she smiled and said, "I like your confidence, big man." From that night, they never stopped seeing each other. Cassandra didn't ask for love. She asked for money. She didn't ask about Evelyn. She mocked her. She didn't want commitment. She wanted conversion. She wanted what Evelyn had. Soon, she started pressuring Kay. "When will you leave that woman? Are you planning to suffer beside her forever? You're my man. We need to build our life." Kay, stupid with ego and lust, started feeding her dreams. He paid her rent. He furnished her apartment. He bought her a phone that Evelyn refused to buy herself. He opened an account just for her. And when Cassandra saw Evelyn at a supermarket one day, she said to Kay over the phone, "She's not even fine like that." That night, she posted a photo of Kay's wristwatch online with the caption, "Some blessings are silent but loaded." She was loud in silence. Evelyn never saw it, but others did. Evelyn wanted to believe in Kay. She still believed. One night, while massaging his shoulders in their bedroom, she said, "I know it's hard, babe. I know the business thing is frustrating, but I'm here. We'll try again." Kay said nothing for a moment. Then he whispered, "Thank you. You're the only person who truly sees me." He cried that night. Whether real or fake, only God knows. But Evelyn cried too. She gave him another 3 million euros. No conditions, no pressure, just love. This time, Kay didn't even pretend. He didn't open any business. He used the money to surprise Cassandra with a weekend getaway to Obituary Mountain Resort. She posted blurry hotel pictures with the caption, "Privacy is peace." Meanwhile, Evelyn took their daughters to church alone. She dressed them in matching white dresses and tied their ribbons perfectly. She told the other mothers, Their daddy is out of town for business. But Kay was holding Cassandra by the waist, watching the clouds roll by, thinking how soft life felt better with someone who didn't nag. Back home, Evelyn decorated the kids' room with glittery stickers and unicorn toys. She ordered new curtains. She made a mala and gbegiri, Kay's favorite, and kept it warm in the warmer. She was preparing for a man who wasn't preparing to return. That night, when he came home late smelling of a new perfume, she opened the door with a smile and said, "I missed you." And he kissed her forehead and said, "You're my everything." Then he showered and slept beside her, with another woman's lipstick still faintly pressed on his chest. It started with a conversation on Cassandra's bed, under warm yellow lights and slow jazz playing in the background. Kay lay there shirtless, scrolling through his phone while Cassandra painted her toenails. She looked up and asked, "When are you going to stop pretending and make our plans real?" Kay didn't flinch. He had heard it before. "Baby, relax," he said. "Let me get the kids' documents first." Cassandra turned to him, serious. "We've been hiding too long. If you want me, I want to know. What's the real plan?" Kay sat up, grabbed a pen, and on a plain paper, he drew 3 boxes. One for his passport, one for the girls, one for Cassandra's. "We travel together. No baggage." "What about your wife?" she asked. He paused, then smiled coldly. "Dead women don't talk." She gasped slightly. "Are you serious?" "Babe, I already printed the obituary." Cassandra stared at him, at first with shock, then with satisfaction. "You're really doing this?" "For us," he whispered. The next day he opened a secret email account and booked appointment slots for biometric enrollment at a Canadian visa center. He scheduled photo sessions for the kids at a travel studio. He told Evelyn, "I want to take the girls out this weekend. Bonding time." She smiled. "You're such a good father." And with that, he packed the girls into the car and drove off. Meanwhile, Evelyn was home attending a virtual women's conference on protecting your peace in marriage. She took notes, shared in the chat, and even gave an encouraging testimony. "I'm married to a good man," she told the host. "He's not perfect, but he's loyal and he tries." People in the chat dropped hearts. The host nodded with a smile. And somewhere across town, her daughters were holding up passports in a photo booth. Kay told the photographer, "Make them smile. It's for something big." 3 weeks later, Evelyn made pepper soup and rice. It was a Sunday evening. Church had ended. The kids were asleep upstairs, and Kay was sitting in the living room playing Candy Crush on his iPad. Evelyn came downstairs in a soft Ankara wrapper and sat beside him. "Babe, you've been amazing with the girls lately," she said. He smiled and pulled her closer. "I just want to be the kind of father I never had." Evelyn believed him. Again. Just then, their youngest daughter, Janelle, came downstairs licking an empty ice cream stick. "Mummy," she said in her baby voice, "Daddy, take us to snap picture." Evelyn blinked. "Picture?" Janelle nodded. "In white place, with curtain." Evelyn turned to Kay, confused. "What's she talking about?" Kay burst out laughing. "Oh, no, don't mind her. We just passed a photo studio last time. She must have seen someone snapping. You know how kids are." He chuckled again and tickled Janelle, who giggled. Evelyn joined the laughter, but her smile was slower, more forced. Something inside her fluttered. When Janelle went back upstairs, she asked Kay again, "Did you take them to snap pictures?" "No, jure," he said, still smiling. "And even if I did, would it be a crime?" Evelyn laughed softly and kissed his forehead. But that night she checked the girls' bags while they were asleep. Nothing. So she let it go. That week, 3 different things happened. A strange phone call. Evelyn was in her office when an unknown number called. A female voice spoke quickly. "Hello, good afternoon. Please, is this Mrs. Evelyn Coyote?" "Yes, who is this?" "Sorry, wrong number. Click." The voice had an accent, the mainland kind, fast, sharp. Evelyn frowned. Something about the voice made her stomach turn. Kay's expensive wristwatch, a gift from Evelyn for his birthday, had been missing for 2 weeks. Evelyn assumed he misplaced it. until she visited the boutique's Instagram page and saw a photo on her staff's story, a slim woman standing in front of a mirror, wearing the same watch. Evelyn zoomed in. She didn't recognize the girl, but her phone case had a name on it, Cassie. Her heart stopped for a beat, then kept beating. Coincidence, she told herself. Maybe it's fake. She said nothing. That same night, Kay was asleep beside her. She was half awake, trying to adjust the bedsheet when she heard him murmur in his sleep, "Cassie." Evelyn froze. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. She just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Cassie! A name she had never heard before. The room suddenly felt cold, even though the air conditioner was off. 2 days later, her best friend Judith visited. "Evelyn," she said carefully over Zobo. "I saw Kay at Lekki Mall with someone. A lady. They were close, like too close." "Are you sure it was him?" "Babe, I can recognize your husband anywhere." Evelyn smiled. "That man loves me. I know what we've built." Judith didn't argue, but as she left, she touched Evelyn's hand and said, "Just be watchful, okay? Not every storm comes with lightning." Evelyn nodded and watched her friend drive away. But something inside her was beginning to shift. Her laughter was shorter, her smile thinner. Kay had never felt more confident in his life. The travel agent, Mr. Ibube, confirmed the visa approvals over the phone. "Oga, Canada awaits you. Everything is complete." Kay smiled, staring at the folder on the dining table in Cassandra's apartment. Inside were his international passport with a fresh Canadian visa, Cassandra's passport and visa, 2 travel authorizations for Zara and Janelle, a death certificate from a forged clinic in Abeokuta, Evelyn's obituary, with her full name, picture, and the fake phrase, "Gone too soon, our beloved mother, friend, and wife. Sleep well." He placed the file carefully in a white envelope and taped the edges. Meanwhile, Evelyn was in the children's room, trying to braid little Janelle's hair. The girls were playing with crayons on the wall. She laughed, took pictures, posted one on her status with the caption, "Every day with these girls is joy." Kay replied to the status, "I'm so lucky to have you." Even then, Evelyn smiled. She was still loving the man who was planning her funeral. That night, Kay pretended to have a stomachache and left the bed to go downstairs. In the darkness, he slipped the white envelope under the driver's seat of his car, the same car Evelyn had bought for his birthday. He hid it well, pushed it deep into the inner foam lining beneath the mat. "It's safe," he whispered. "No one will find it." Not even her. It was a Thursday morning. Cloudy skies, gentle breeze, a quiet day. Evelyn had an early appointment at a boutique warehouse across town. But when she stepped outside, her car refused to start. "Battery gone off," their gateman muttered. She sighed, looked at her wristwatch, then called out to Kay. "Met, can I use your car today?" He froze, only for 2 seconds, then smiled. "Of course, my queen. I'll take the other ride." She smiled and entered the car. It smelled like him, musk and cedarwood. As she adjusted the seat backward, she heard a soft crinkle. Something was under the seat cushion. She reached beneath casually, fingers brushing plastic, paper, tape. She pulled out a thick white envelope, taped shut. Her heart began to race, but she didn't know why. She placed the envelope on the passenger seat, looked around. Then slowly, gently, she peeled the tape off. The first page was a printed travel itinerary. Passenger 1, Zara Kayode. Passenger 2, Janelle Kayode. Passenger 3, Mr. Kayode Olawale. Passenger 4, Cassandra Uchechi Kayode. She blinked. She read it again and again. Cassandra? The visas in her hands shook as she opened the next sheets. Each passport page had clear approval stamps, a departure date circled in red pen. 3rd of October, 5:45 a.m. Flight to Toronto. She reached the final part. It was a printed obituary template, with her full name, her picture from their 6th wedding anniversary, her birthday, the words, "Sunset, 2023. She stared at the paper in silence for a full minute, then quietly began to cry. Her mascara melted slowly down her cheeks. Her chest rose and fell in panic. She covered her mouth, trying not to scream. A car drove past the compound. A dog barked. The world kept moving, but Evelyn's world stopped. After 5 full minutes of silent weeping, Evelyn wiped her eyes with tissue from the glove box. She reassembled the papers with shaking hands, sealed the envelope again, and drove to a photocopy shop close to the boutique she was going. As soon as she was done making photocopies, she slid it back into its hiding place, exactly the way she found it. Then, she smiled. A strange, calm, broken kind of smile. She drove to the boutique warehouse, spoke to her staff, even took selfies with customers. But every word, every gesture was performed by a woman whose soul had died quietly in a car. 2 days later, she visited a lawyer named Mr. Okonkwo, a bald, older gentleman with gentle eyes and heavy silence. She dropped the photocopies on his desk. He read them, slowly, looked up, met him. "This is attempted murder." Evelyn nodded. "I don't want him dead. I want him jailed. I want him to return to the streets I picked him from." Mr. Okonkwo adjusted his glasses. "Give me 1 week." That night she made vegetable soup. Kay licked his fingers and kissed her forehead. "You're my heaven on earth," he said. She smiled. She bathed the girls, put them to bed, laid beside him, asked him how his day went. Meanwhile, his lover Cassandra was texting, "Yet, baby, we're almost there, Canada, here we come." He smiled at the message and replied under the covers, "She doesn't suspect a thing. She's so stupid and blind." Cassandra sent a voice note, "Your wife is such a goat. Honestly, she has no clue. You're too smart, babe. I love you." Kay chuckled in bed. Beside Evelyn, he whispered, "I love you too." But Evelyn was watching him in the darkness. Eyes open, mind burning, soul preparing. She rolled over, laid her head on his chest, and said softly, "I'm so lucky I married you." He kissed her head, held her tightly, fell asleep. And Evelyn stared into the ceiling for 6 hours. She didn't sleep that night. She couldn't. Because she had just seen her funeral program in her husband's handwriting. For most women, heartbreak looks like screaming, shouting, fighting, throwing phones and clothes and curses. But from Evelyn, heartbreak came with clarity. It was as if her eyes had been washed in truth. Every word Kay said now sounded rehearsed. It was as if her eyes had been washed in truth. Every hug felt like poison. Every kiss, like a farewell from a man who had already buried her in his mind. She kissed his cheek. "I just wanted to say thank you for being my rock." She grinned. "You deserve a crown. You planned my funeral," she wanted to say. But instead she laughed and served him a plate. That night, after bathing the kids, Evelyn read them a bedtime story. Little Zara asked, "Mummy, why do you always smile when you're sad?" Evelyn paused. "Who told you I'm sad? I heard you crying in the toilet yesterday." She froze. She pulled both girls close and kissed their foreheads. "Mummy is strong, okay?" They nodded, fell asleep in her arms, and Evelyn began plotting the surprise of a lifetime. She met privately with Inspector Grace, a quiet but sharp policewoman. They met at a restaurant in Ikeja. Evelyn brought photocopies, audio recordings of Kay's calls, recorded via an app her lawyer installed, and even screenshots of Cassandra's texts to Kay, which Evelyn had secretly forwarded from Kay's unlocked phone one morning. Inspector Grace said calmly, "Madam, if we do this, we'll do it well. No drama, no delay." Evelyn nodded. "I want justice, and I want everyone present when the truth comes out." Exactly 5 days to the planned departure date, Evelyn sat down with her phone and sent out messages to selected people. Kay's parents, her own parents, Kay's 2 closest cousins, 4 of her church friends, 2 neighbors, and her friend Judith. All messages said the same thing. "Good morning, I'm planning a surprise for Kay. Please come by the house on Saturday morning. Arrive early, before 7 a.m. Don't tell him anything, just come. Thank you." Everyone replied, "Surprise? Okay, oh, I will come." She even added smiley emojis and "he doesn't know" stickers to make it seem like a birthday event. Meanwhile, Cassandra was packing new outfits into a suitcase. Blonde wig? Check. Coat for Toronto? Check. Plane ticket? Check. She FaceTimed Kay late at night. "Baby, I'm ready. I even got a wedding ring for the airport just in case." Kay laughed. "Just wait. Everything will be smooth. The only person who can ruin it already has her own burial poster." They both laughed. Sick, twisted laughter. While Evelyn, just a room away, typed a message on her phone. Police unit confirmed. Will arrive 7:30 a.m. sharp. She deleted the chat and slept beside him like a newborn lamb. The day before the surprise, Kay asked Evelyn to lay out the girls' clothes. I want to take them out early tomorrow. We'll be back before noon. Evelyn smiled. Should I follow you? Kay kissed her forehead. Don't stress, rest. You always do too much. No, Kay, she wanted to scream. I'm not following you because you're not coming back. Saturday morning came like any other. Evelyn dressed the girls in pink jackets, combed their hair, and packed snacks into a small bag. She wore a bright peach gown and smiled calmly. As they descended the stairs, Evelyn said sweetly, Let me come with you this morning. Kay froze for a second. Ah, no need, love. Just rest. Before he could finish, the doorbell rang. Evelyn opened the door. Kay's parents stood there smiling. Surprise, she said cheerfully. Kay blinked. Mummy, Daddy. They hugged the kids. We got her message. Surprise indeed. Kay looked confused. Message? You'll see, Evelyn said, walking to the kitchen. 2 minutes later, her parents arrived. Then Judith, then 2 neighbors, then a cousin from Kay's village. Everyone entered with joy, hugging, laughing. Kay was sweating. Evelyn, what's going on? She handed him a glass of water. Relax, dear. Let everyone settle. When the house was full and the girls were playing with their cousins, Evelyn stood up. She walked slowly to the center of the living room and cleared her throat. I called you all here, not for a birthday surprise, but because I want you all to know who Kayode Olawale really is. Everyone turned. The atmosphere froze. She pulled out the photocopies. These are travel documents Kay prepared for himself, Cassandra Uchechi, and my 2 daughters. To Canada. Without me. Behind my back. But that's not all. She lifted the final paper. This is my obituary. Printed, designed, dated, approved, to fake my death, and erase me from existence. Kay dropped his glass. His hands trembled. Evelyn, wait. Before he could finish, the police stormed in. Inspector Grace stepped forward with cuffs. Mr. Kayode Olawale, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, identity fraud, forgery, and child trafficking. The room exploded in chaos. Evelyn shielded her daughters, who were crying now. Kay fell to his knees, screaming, Please, Evelyn, please! I was stupid, it was a mistake, please! His parents sat in silence, too ashamed to speak. Her parents cried. Neighbors gasped. And Evelyn? She just said, You plan to bury me. Now you'll live in a prison where you'll remember me every single day. It was just after 8 a.m. Cassandra stood in front of her mirror, applying lip gloss with confident precision. She wore a wine-colored satin dress that clung to her body like silk on fire, and her blonde wig bounced as she moved. A small carry-on luggage stood by the door. She checked her phone. Babe, are you close? She typed. No reply. She texted again. You're not ghosting me now, right? Still nothing. She paced the room, checked her makeup again, glanced at the clock. The doorbell rang. Finally, she said, grinning as she adjusted her wig. She unlocked the door and flung it wide. But it wasn't Kay. It was 4 officers in black. Cassandra Uchechi? One of them asked calmly. Yes. What's going on? You're under arrest for aiding and abetting conspiracy to commit murder and attempted child trafficking. She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that cracked at the edges. Wait, what? No, you people don't understand. They stepped in. One officer opened her handbag and pulled out a printed plane ticket and a fake wedding ring. The officer read it aloud. Miss Cassandra Uchechi, one-way ticket, Toronto, 5:45 a.m., October 3rd. Another officer opened her suitcase, full of new clothes and cash bundles. Take her. Wait, please, she screamed. Let me call Kay. Let me call my fiancé. Someone else's husband, the officer shouted. He's in custody already. She collapsed to her knees, screamed, kicked, begged. It was his idea. Please, I didn't want to kill anyone. As they dragged her out, Her satin dress crumpled against the floor, her wig shifted, and her hands were cuffed like a thief on a weekday. And somewhere in the city, Evelyn was making breakfast. Kay sat in the holding cell. His face was swollen from crying. His shirt had been torn during the scuffle. He had called every name he could think of, his uncle, his cousin, even his pastor. No one answered. He stared at the iron bars like they were a dream he couldn't wake up from. A police officer opened the cell and handed him a paper. "Your bail hearing is in 3 days. Your wife submitted all the evidence. You're finished, Olga." He sat still, then whispered, Tell her I'm sorry." The officer looked at him with pity. "You're not the first man to betray a woman who loved him, but you might be the first to try to bury her alive." Kay broke down in sobs. "I was stupid. I was poor. She made me a man. You thought wrong," the officer snapped. "Now face it." In a separate room, Cassandra sat in tears, her makeup now streaks of regret. "I didn't know he was going to kill her," she repeated. "I didn't sign anything." "But you collected the ticket. You had the documents. You planned it. That's enough." "He said she was going to travel with us. I didn't know it was fake. I didn't. I swear." She was handed a pen. "You'll write your statement, everything, and pray the judge has mercy." Back at home, Evelyn sat in her living room, surrounded by friends, family, and a few press cameras. The story had leaked. It was already on 2 blogs. Wealthy woman discovers her husband's evil plot to kill her. Obituary before death. Coyote's wife exposes secret Canadian plot. She looked calm, too calm. Judith sat beside her and whispered, "You did it! You caught him! You're free!" But Evelyn just stared at the floor and whispered, "I'm not free. I'm grieving." Grieving? The man I married never existed. 3 weeks later, Evelyn sat in the courtroom. Kay and Cassandra stood before the judge dressed in gray prison uniforms. Their faces were pale, eyes sunken, no smiles. The judge read their charges: attempted murder by fraud, planned child trafficking, identity theft, abuse of matrimonial trust. The room was filled with journalists, camera clicks, whispered gasps. Then the judge said, "Before sentencing, the victim has requested to speak." Evelyn stood up slowly. She wore a simple white gown, no jewelry, no lipstick, just grace. She walked to the front, took the microphone, and paused. "Your Honor, I am not here to cry. I have done enough of that. I am not here to curse. Life is already punishing them. I am here to remind every woman watching this that love should not come with bloodstains, that lifting a man should not mean carrying your own coffin, that marriage is not slavery." And that silence almost buried me. She turned to Kay, her voice shaking. "I loved you when you had nothing. I loved you when the world laughed at me. And you wrote my obituary while I was still cooking for you." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "But I'm still here. I'm still standing. You tried to kill my body, but you awakened my spirit." The room broke into applause. The judge raised her hand. "Order in the court." She turned to Kay and Cassandra. "The court hereby sentences Coyote Olawale and Cassandra Uchechi to 25 years imprisonment without parole for conspiracy, attempted fraud, and abuse of family integrity." Kay collapsed. Cassandra screamed. Evelyn walked out slowly, and the sun hit her face just right. It had been 8 months since the trial. The press had moved on. The social media hashtags had faded. The public's memory had shifted to newer scandals. But Evelyn? She was still rebuilding. Not from scratch, but from the pieces of herself she didn't even know had broken. Every Thursday at 10 a.m. she met with her therapist, a gentle woman named Dr. Chioma, in a sunlit room filled with books and scented candles. "Say it," Dr. Chioma would whisper. "You're safe now." "He planned to kill me," Evelyn would say, "and I was still cooking for him." Each session was a release, a slow untying of knots. She learned to breathe again, to smile, not because she had to, but because it came naturally. Twice, Kay wrote her letters from prison. The first time, he begged for forgiveness. "I was insecure and greedy and lost." The second time, he wrote a poem for the girls. Evelyn never replied. She burned both letters under moonlight, whispering to herself, "I forgive you, but I'll never forget." Evelyn turned her backyard into a garden, not for show, but for healing. She and the girls planted sunflowers, tomatoes, onions, and bitter leaf. Zara called it Mummy's Magic Land. Every Saturday they watered the garden and spoke about their dreams. One afternoon, little Janelle said, "Mummy, when I grow up, I'll marry someone like Daddy." Evelyn smiled. "No, baby, you'll marry someone who loves you like you deserve." It was a rainy Sunday afternoon when Evelyn visited Kay's parents, alone. They sat quietly, avoiding eye contact. His mother wiped her eyes. His father cleared his throat. Evelyn placed a basket on the table, filled with groceries and 200,000 Nero in an envelope. "Yet you raised a son, I raised a man, but he broke himself." His mother sobbed. His father stood up and hugged her tightly. "We are so sorry," he whispered. "You brought us out of poverty, and we brought you pain." Evelyn wiped her eyes and said, "You didn't bring me pain, your son did, and I've healed. But this is goodbye." She walked out. The rain stopped as she reached the gate, and as the sun broke through the clouds, Evelyn looked up, smiled, and whispered, "I'm still standing." Moral of the story: never lose yourself while trying to build someone else. Love should lift, not blind. Help should not cost you your peace. Marriage is a union, not a graveyard for one person's dreams, and sometimes the ones we love the most are the ones we must survive from. If you feel something is off, listen. If you sense silence where there should be truth, investigate. Your life matters. Your purpose matters, and no one, absolutely no one, is worth your funeral. What would you do if you found your own obituary in your partner's car? This is just one of many powerful stories on our channel. Tap into more real-life inspired African tales that will make you reflect and heal. Do well to check out other stories on our channel. Every story is a lesson. Every lesson could save a life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if it touched you. And remember, we don't just tell stories. We tell the truth wrapped in fiction. Until next time, African Tales by Imade, where stories come alive.